What's up, everybody? It's the Stable Lad with another video here. This video is going to be about just some interesting opportunities that I've just noticed today. I'm going to try to do these with a regular cadence, just short videos, probably every Friday. Just a quick video that just shows things I'm looking at. These are not necessarily things that I've invested in or added to portfolio positions to, but just things that I'm sort of noticing that look interesting, that I'm exploring or thinking about exploring. So as we get into yield opportunities, I always start with DefiLlama. It's just my place that I go to. So I'll go to yields here. I'll go to stablecoin pools, and we'll kind of just look here. I generally tend to I like to look at this TVL here, and the reason why I look at TVL stands for total value locked. The reason why I look at it is just because I like seeing things that have bigger pools in them, bigger activity. It doesn't always mean that it's safer, but I like to see things that a lot of money is going into. It feels like it's at least from a risk perspective, it's higher on my priority list. If you kind of don't do that and you just sort of look at APYs, you'll see something like this here, like this PPOD's finance. They're paying 1,000% on this looks like the Sonic blockchain. But look at the total value. It's like there's $23,000 in it. The chances of that pool drying up or me not being able to get my money out are a lot higher than if the pool is much, much larger. Again, doesn't mean that that's the case. It doesn't mean that this PPOD's finance pool isn't a good one. If you look down here, this DAI USDC pool on SushiSwap, it doesn't mean that that's not a good one. SushiSwap is a protocol that's been around for 5 years and has done really, really well. But it just sort of like, I'm trying to look at things that I think are a little bit stronger in value. And so if you look at the top one here, there's $5 billion in this Athena project, right? So the project's called Athena. Athena has its own stablecoin USDE, and SUSDE is the staked version of that token. I'm not going to go into that today because that's a sort of a special token, a different stablecoin, and as we do more videos on the channel, that will go into the sort of playlist under stablecoins. I'll do a deep dive on Athena's USDE, but for now I'm just going to kind of continue to focus on what we focused on mainly, which is USDC, USDT, and really DAI, and a couple of other ones. We look at the next one down, and we see Maple. Maple Finance is a really cool protocol doing really, really innovative things. Mostly lending out to institutions, and they do it with like a fixed yield product. I'll go into detail. I'll do a deep dive on Maple as well, but we just sort of take a look. There's $2 billion locked in value in the chain right now, and they're paying 9.11%, at least so it says on DefiLlama. Those aren't always accurate. So once we see this here, we want to go and click this button, and it'll take us over to Maple's site right here, right? So then we go and we see a new Syrup USDC pool, which is listed on Pendle. I've talked about Pendle before on this channel, and Pendle is really, really cool protocol that separates yield out. So you can invest in the long-term yield, or you can invest in a fixed APY, which is, I think, super cool. So here we go. We just clicked on that. We got the Syrup USDC here, and we see a fixed APY of 8.63%. So again, it's different than the 9.11 that it was showing over here on DefiLlama, but still really great. It's 8.63% while your money just sort of sits there. So here you can kind of click here and purchase the fixed rate here, and you can see that the output is fixed as of August 27th. So once you kind of put money into this, it'll tell you exactly what you're going to make, depending on the amount of money that you put into this vault. It'll tell you what you're going to make by August 27th, and that amount is fixed. And then you can keep it in there longer, and each month the sort of fixed rate is adjusted for what the latest fixed rate is, but this is pretty darn good, 8.63% for the month, ending in 19 days. One of the other cool things about Pendle is you could pull it out at any time. So you don't actually need to sit here and wait until August 27th. But of course, you're not going to get the full amount of the fixed rate that you've invested in if you don't do that. So let's just kind of take a look here, just kind of go down here. We see these are big, pools on Aave, but they're paying 3.68%. So I'm kind of just going to go down and see, like, is there anything more interesting here that we can kind of take a look at? Fluid lending. I love this protocol. USDT on fluid lending. Let's take a look at it. So we got USDT on fluid lending. It's paying, again, the amount listed here on was 9.11% again, but the amount listed here is 8.33%. Still really, really cool. I would be super happy investing in fluid at 8.33%. The total value locked is really solid on the chain right here. Like we've got hundreds of millions of dollars invested in this pool, paying 8.33%. I think Fluid right now is rapidly trying to grow as a company, as a protocol, and so they're paying with their own native token rewards. So that's kind of like lending and yield farming kind of wrapped in one here. And you can see here the base APY is 4%, and then they're paying these Fluid rewards, 3.7% on top of it, to add more juice to the amount that they're paying here. So USDC is 7.8%, and USDT is paying a little bit more right now. And generally, what happens too, by the way, is like you'll see, oh my God, it's paying more, 9.11%. And because it's paying more people will swap their USDC for USDT because they want to get the extra 2%. And then that pool will fill up, and USDC, then these will flip. USDC will be 9.11%. So sometimes you just sort of leave it in there and let the people fluctuate and do what they're going to do. Let's keep going down a little bit. Let's take a look and see if we see anything more interesting here. Staked Go. That's an interesting one. On Aave is apparently paying 9%, and it's 153 million in value. So I just go here and kind of take a look, right? This is really interesting. I haven't explored this too much, but again, just something I would take a look at. I would have to take a look at this. I don't know what this is exactly. This is maybe a new staking pools on Aave. Something cool to explore here. Maybe I'll explore in future videos. Let's take a look. Let's keep going down a little bit. Stream Finance. This is interesting. We've got 115 million in this pool. I've never heard of this protocol. This little symbol here means that there's likely an airdrop. So this project has no token, and they're probably going to airdrop that token in the future, which is probably why this pool is so high. And it says it's paying 13.52%. Now I've kind of already opened this up, taking a look at Stream here, and as you can see, they're paying 18% on a USDC vault. So we can kind of open that up and take a look here. It's 18% here. That's super interesting. This vault takes advantage of non-directional trades to earn high yield. So what they're basically doing, I think, is they are taking a delta neutral strategy, taking your USDC and investing it in both short and long positions, hence the delta neutral strategy, in order to pay out an estimated 18% yield. Now I've kind of done a little bit of research here. I've gone to Stream to see sort of how it works, and here they talk about how they basically take a performance fee of 10%, and they keep more of it if it outperforms that predicted 18% APY. They focus primarily on DEX and DeFi trades only. This is an interesting thing that I would take a look at. The volume on there seems pretty good. I did take a look, and I did some additional research on this before I added it to the stream, to today's stream. And I don't really love the protocol. They've kind of come out of nowhere. They focus mostly on Solana. I don't love these delta neutral strategies because they say they're delta neutral, but they don't always work. And so anytime I've tried these, I tend to lose money as opposed to make money. There are other protocols that do this as well, and the APYs tend to be much smaller because in reality, that's really what you earn in a delta neutral strategy. If it was always positive, everybody would do delta neutral strategies and everybody would make money, right? And that would be what everybody would do. And so I would be really, really wary of putting a ton of money into this because there's an airdrop and because there's $100 million in this, in here, as we've sort of seen here, and we've kind of looked back here at Stream Finance, there's $115 million of value locked in this thing. I may put like a small amount of my portfolio. I'm not going to risk probably more than 2% of it, but that's what I would just sort of consider. I would consider maybe doing a small percentage, knowing that I could lose it. And so therefore I'm only going to risk 2%. If I'm trying to aim to earn 15% in my portfolio, my stablecoin portfolio, I'd be willing to risk maybe 2% of it. And if I lost that money, if I'm making 15%, I'd make 13%, right? So I'd be willing to risk 2% of that portfolio. Maybe I'd be willing to risk that much in this brand new protocol, but I'd watch it really carefully. And it's not one of those things where I would sleep really well at night if I invested too much money into it. So there's just a few things. There's more over here, right? I mean, we can keep going down this list, and this is kind of what I do on a weekly basis. I just go down through this list, and I see some things that look interesting, and I may invest in it. And again, you can kind of go here in the APY side and see if there's anything here that's interesting. Well, this is interesting, right? There's $24,000 in Strike. Then you investigate what Strike is. You could use artificial intelligence to maybe kind of help you do some deep research on what Strike is. You could take a look at their Twitter profile. You could take a look at their security audits. You could take a look at the team themselves, if the team are doxed, if they've built anything before. You could take a look at the community. You can go onto the Discord and kind of explore what it is. Again, this is a super small amount, so even though they're paying high, I don't know that I would even trust looking at this, but that's kind of how I kind of look at these things, right? Euler is interesting. Euler is actually a big protocol. They've been around for years, and it claims right here they're paying 123%. The base APY is this, reward APY. So Avalanche is, I guess, trying to pump this up and pay 116%. So you could take a look at things like that and see if it's worth the value. And there's 300,000, almost 350,000 in this. So that's interesting, right? Again, you can take a look at these kinds of pools like on Uniswap. And that's what I do kind of on a weekly basis. So this video hopefully was just a little helpful on kind of what's going on and what I'm looking at, how I kind of look at some of these opportunities on a weekly basis. And then if you sort of follow me every week, I'll do these every week, and you kind of just, again, start to hear about how I think about risk. I'll talk a little bit more about portfolio and all that kind of stuff, and mess around. We'll take a look at different chains. This is an Aptos chain. This is the Linea chain. This is Arbitrum. So I'll do more deep dives on what these other blockchains are outside of Ethereum. A lot of these are layer 2s. Avalanche is its own layer 1 chain. And I'll go into more detail on future videos on the more educational side of the channel. But this one is going to be more focused on yield opportunities that I see on a weekly basis and how I think about sort of risk and what I'm just sort of mulling about in my head. So hopefully this is helpful. Love any comments that you have. And until next time, I'm the Stable Lad.
I'm the Stable Lad. And if you like today's video, please hit that subscribe button. Every week I break down what's happening in the world of stablecoins and why it matters, clearly, calmly, and without the hype. This channel is for educational purposes. It is not meant to be financial advice. So always do your own research and manage your risk wisely.